Are we? Did that do that for you the way it did it for
Yeah,
me?
yeah, it did. Yeah. Hey, this is the old Donzo and Deez show after hours. Come on, Deez.
I don't know what the fuck. He's El Donzo. I'm Deez. Welcome aboard another Saturday night of uncensored, unfiltered stories. And I actually pulled some news stories that we didn't get to on the
Let's do
show,
it.
and a few of them are probably for good reason. Uh, yeah, it's a
Yeah,
couple of them are a bit rough.
let's do it.
I'll save that one for a minute. I'll do this one though. 45 bags of human remains were found in Mexico during a search for some missing people.
You boys ever been to Mexico?
Oh man. What'd you say?
What?
You cut out.
I, s- I said, you boys ever been to Mexico?
All right, we're having some now I don't know if that's you or me.
No, everything's coming through here fine, bro. We got, hey, Tony, you're on, you're watching. How does everything sound audio wise to you? Unfiltered until L's mom shows. Yeah, that's exactly right,
Oh
Tony.
yeah,
Tony,
there's
how's
that.
everything sound? Let's get Tony's thing on this. Wait for him to pop up. You know, just like Jurassic Park, okay, when they launched, they had some issues too. All right.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
Tony says sounds okay. So obviously everything's going good. Tony piped
Okay.
up like a minute ago, so we're good to go.
It might be these damn earphones. Anyway, 45 bags human remains were found while searching for some missing people in Mexico. The Jalisco prosecutor's office said in a statement Wednesday, bags were found below a forest overlook on the outskirts of the city of Guadalajara, and it was so far down a ravine. Yeah, 45 trash bags. They had to airlift them out with a helicopter, and they don't even know how many bodies are in these bags.
Sounds like the train station in Yellowstone. Just saying.
Are you talking about the show
Yeah.
Yellowstone?
Yeah. Yeah. You
Oh,
have you ever
I've
watched it?
never seen. No, I do want to watch it. I just haven't got into that one. Yeah,
Well,
the remains belong to men and women, and it says it's not immediately known how many bodies there were. Apparently, there were like 11 people missing from this one particular business or call center. Yeah, 7. I'm sorry, they were looking for 7 missing people from a call center and ended up finding 45 trash bags full. And there's a couple pictures on the
holy
New York
shit.
Post. I mean, these are some like big bags. Like I think there's more than 7 people there.
We've got the biggest bags of them all.
Right? I mean, the fact that they had to airlift them out to even get to them, that they were down, that far in this ravine. That's
So
crazy. That's
let me just
reason number 712 why I'll never fucking go to Mexico.
let me just reiterate this for the people that are just tuning in now that are seeing it. This is off the cuff. We did no show prep for this. I've
No,
been
this is
drinking
hey,
all
you want to live stream?
yeah, this is it. This we just go for it. And we hope everybody enjoys it. If you don't enjoy it, go after yourself. We don't care. But we hope everybody enjoys it, gets something out of this. And we're just, I like this. I kind of like what we're doing. You're talking about the bodies down in Mexico and all that other stuff. And we're just winging it. And sometimes winging it's nice. It's almost like talking on the phone to each other, like saying, hey, what'd you do this week? We
Right.
got video up. You can see my smiling face.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, shut up. Nobody asked you.
And Kevin Phares from also from Cities 92. And I guess we should preface that by saying if any of you happen to be watching that don't know, we have a radio show called El Donzo and Deez Show on Cities 92.9 here
Correct.
in Bloomington Normal. And that show obviously is fit for radio. This one,
This is not.
not going to be so much.
No.
But we want to be able to kind of steer this part of it away from all the boring news and politics. I mean, we will talk some of that stuff sometimes, but this is more on a human level of us just shooting the shit, telling old war stories of growing up with crazy parents and strip clubs, and then, like I said, I'll pull some of these stories out that might be a little too much to put on the radio on a Saturday afternoon.
So I've got a bit of a story we'll get to whenever you're ready for it. Because look, this is how this goes. The Aldonzo and Deez show. I do most of the producing for it. This Deez does most of the producing for this, so we kind of split our duties up with it. But I do have a story about a friend of mine that I was hanging out with today that I would love to get to, and of course Cat can't join.
Yeah.
I would love to get to the story about a guy that I know and we were talking to today, and we reached that common ground in beliefs, and it proves a point to where most people, okay, that don't like say they'd vote for liberals, they just simply don't know. They don't have that. They don't watch the news. They don't follow. They don't know what they're voting for. So that's one of the things I want to get to today. But anyway, Deez, you have the floor. You go ahead, my man.
Oh, I was going to let you tell your story.
Well, I'll tell the story.
Yeah, go ahead.
So a good friend of mine, Ray, great guy. He's a humanitarian. He's one of the best human beings I've ever known in my life. Okay,
Super good dude.
he is a good dude. He absolutely is. We were sitting and we waxed philosophical this afternoon. Him and I did. We drank probably, I don't know, 15 beers apiece. We were just kicking back. It was a Saturday afternoon, having a good time. And he's, of course, on the liberal end of the spectrum, and I'm on the conservative end. And I made the point that just because, okay, you believe in something that's logical, and we talked about this on the show that aired this morning, doesn't make you a conservative. So, and he doesn't know anything. He didn't know about the Bud Light thing. He knew nothing about the Dylan Mulvaney thing. Nothing. Was completely oblivious to it. And I told him what
Wow.
and he goes, yeah, that's pretty fucked up that they do that. And I explained to him that Dylan Mulvaney was this guy that thinks he's a fucking 13-year-old girl, okay, and celebrates 365 days of girlhood, okay, and then Bud Light comes out and celebrates him and puts him on a can, but they don't put veterans on the can. They don't put, women like Riley Gaines on a can. They don't make her a spokesperson, okay? They don't do any of this stuff. And he's starting to figure it out. Then we go out and we're drinking beer. And, Aldonzo quit smoking, what was it, 3-4 years ago? Something like that.
Which time?
Yeah, which time, right? But I still have a cigarette occasionally. He goes, hey, want to have a cigarette? I said, yeah, let's go out and have a smoke. Because I still say, I don't care. I'm not addicted to it, but I'll do it like a cigar, like most people do cigars. So we go out and we're smoking. I said, dude, look. I said, how do you feel about abortion? And he says, well, yeah, he's him-hawing around and all this other stuff. And I said, okay, let's imagine this. Let's imagine you got a 14-year-old daughter, okay? And she gets knocked up. And you find out after the fact that your 14-year-old daughter went and had an abortion and didn't need your permission. You or your wife's... And Ray doesn't have kids, okay? Mind you. I said, how would you feel about that? She just went out and got the baby ripped out of her. And he kind of got emotional. I wouldn't say completely emotional, but he really was deep in thought. If you know Ray, he's deep in thought about stuff. He didn't really appreciate that. And I said, okay. I said, now let's imagine you and your girlfriend, because Ray's older. I said, let's say you're 30 years younger. She gets pregnant. And for 8.5 months, okay, you think you're going to be a father. And then one day she comes home and she's not pregnant anymore because she had an abortion. They took the kid out at 8.5 months. And she didn't have to have your permission to do that. She didn't have to have your consent. She just went and did it. How would you feel? And once again, you could see him really thinking about this. And I said, dude, this isn't about 15 weeks or 12 weeks or 16 weeks. That's what, first trimester abortions, that's way in the past. What they're doing now is they're yanking kids out up until the time of birth, okay, and snipping their necks. And the father has no say or the parents have no say. So when you vote for a women's health and their right to choose. People hear that and think, well, yeah, anybody should be able to get an abortion up until 12 weeks. No, what they're really doing is they're trying to depopulate the United States, and it's sickening. So he's a liberal. I don't know. I wouldn't call him a liberal. He's there. He's kind of in there. You know what I mean? But he's very logical. But he does not follow the news. When you realize what you're voting for, it's sickening. The same thing goes for most liberals. Okay, would not go to IHOP 15 years ago and lose their shit because there was a black mammy on a bottle of pancake syrup. Nobody cared about that until they were told to care. And the more we talked this afternoon, and I love this guy to death, he's a good friend of mine. The more we talked, it was like, I said, dude, you're not a conservative. You're not alt-right. You're not in the same boat I'm in. But you obviously believe this is wrong. That doesn't make you a bad person or a conservative. That just makes you logical. Nobody thinks this is right. This is like, what was it? Was it the World Economic Forum or the World Health Organization that was calling pedophiles minor attracted people? Dude, I don't care.
I think it was there was a report in the World Health where, yeah, it didn't really get legs, but it was definitely mentioned in there.
No, but it was a prominent mention in it. They call them pedophiles minor attracted people. I call them bullet stoppers. I mean, just call it what it is. When they're trying to make this stuff, okay, mainstream, it's not. This is not right. Like we talked on the show about the whole gender thing. So what if I asked him, I said, so what if your kid comes home? Because look, I've said this before and I mean it. And I really mean it from the bottom of my heart. I love everybody. If you're a nice person, I love you. Okay. You're a good person. Go with it. Now, on the other hand, we shouldn't be encouraging this fucking transgender stuff. One or two things are going on here. We talked about this on today's show, Deez. Either A, you have a mental issue, a dysphoria issue. Okay? It's just like, what if your kid wanted to come home and chop his leg off because he felt it didn't belong? No, there's no way. There's no way that's happening. You need help. Same thing with chopping somebody's pecker off. All right? So it's either that or this has become a fucking fad and people are encouraging this for a reason. There's a reason behind everything. That's all I'm going to say about it. But we had a really good discussion. I find that most liberals that I discuss this with that would be bleeding heart supporters of liberal candidates don't know this stuff. They just simply don't know. I don't want to say uneducated because uneducated is kind of a kick in the nuts. It's like, well, you're just not educated. No, we're not saying that. You're just not informed. Once they become informed, their shit starts to change. They start to take on not a conservative view, a logical view, because most people don't know this stuff's going on.
I mean, I think a big part of it is that people tend to hang around with people with their own beliefs. Not always. I mean, I've got liberal friends, but for the most part, and if you feel a certain way about a certain issue or whatever, and like, for example, if you're a liberal and you fuck Donald Trump type thing, you're not going to turn on Fox News or go to the Gateway Pundit or listen to anybody that is viewed as conservative. You're going to turn on CNN or MSNBC or whatever. So you're already getting the skewed view. And, like the thing about that whole story that you just sold that blows my mind is how in the hell Ray didn't know anything about the Bud Light thing.
Like, he just said,
I mean, he goes to the bar.
He's so busy,
lot, obviously, but
he's so busy. I mean, this guy rescues animals. Okay, he's a videographer. I mean, he's just so busy, and you really got it. Deez,
I'm sorry.
What?
He can't hear us. He can't hear us right now. He's not watching, but yeah,
he's a great person, and he's going to watch this because I even asked his permission to tell the stories.
Not Ray. Look at the comment I just put on the screen. Son of a bitch.
What?
I hope it's raining. You don't see the comment on the screen?
Yeah, McKinsey's. Yeah. Ryan McKinsey's down in Myrtle Beach, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. I
Yeah, I
hope it's
saw that.
raining, bastard.
Yeah, I hope it is. I hope it's raining. I hope it's monsoon down there in Myrtle Beach, Mackenzie. No, I love you, man. You're a good dude. Um,
Enjoy your vacation.
yeah, absolutely. Enjoy
Dick.
your vacation. You earned it. Your wife has a spot in heaven for putting up with your ass. That's all I can
Right?
say. Right?
But
I mean,
yeah,
it's got to be
anyway,
one of
back.
those things. Anyway,
Yeah.
back to Ray Ray. No, Ray Ray's a good dude. But he's busy. He doesn't, and that's what most of the people in America, okay, really do. They just ignore politics. They go on about their business unless somebody's got a friend like you or me or whatever that tells them about this. They don't know about it. They don't
And he's
look at how
he's
much
probably not on socials much
no, look at how much show
other than to
prep we
promote
do.
the animal shit.
We go through CNN, PMSNBC, PMSNBC. We go through Fox News. We go through Gateway Pundit. We go through all these looking for stories that are pertinent to cover. And then, look, everybody, once you get one of those stories from either one of those, whether it's Fox, CNN, Gateway Pundit, then you got to cross reference it. So this is our lives. This is what we do the whole week is go through and look at these news stories and verify them. Not a lot of people do that. That's not a common thing. Yeah, it's just so it's our job not to bring our opinions. And like I told him, I said, I'm not going to argue with you. If you tell me the sun's shining and it's fucking midnight, I'm not going to argue with you because your reality is that. That's what you believe. If you raise a kid, okay, you put the kid through 12 years of school and you tell this kid every day that 2 and 2 equals 5. When he graduates high school, 2 and 2 equals 5. And then somebody comes along and goes, no, it's actually 4. Well, the kid's not going to believe it. So that's kind of what we're dealing with right now. But it's always good. I've seen so many people, once they become informed that this shit's going on, it's like they're like somebody lets the air into the room.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I talked about with Chrissy. You know, as you're just coming into voting age and things like that, you know, you start hearing things. And like my cousin who used to host Hanging with Deez with me, he was big Bernie type, you know, free shit, blah blah blah. And I was like, you know, it all sounds great. Look, in a perfect world where we could have fucking free healthcare and free this and free that, awesome. But you have to look at the bigger picture. Like, it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Somebody's
You know,
paying for it. And
yeah,
it's us.
yeah.
I mean, it
And
really
when you
is.
get older, you start to understand that you know, and then, you know, and that was, yeah, what, 2016 or whatever, whenever Bernie was big. And
Yeah.
I mean, now just over these last 5, 6, 7 years, the left has gone so far fucking left that, you know, I mean, my feelings on abortion, you already know. Like, I am for a woman's right to do, you know, to take care of their body how they see fit,
To an
up
extent.
into a certain point. Once you
Right.
get past that 14 week or whatever, then look, if you can't make the decision, or now if it's a health issue later than that, like to where one of you is going to die, blah, 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 do what you got to do. But as far as like, well, I don't know if I should have this child or not after 14 weeks,
Your
no,
fucking mind better be made up.
yeah,
Look,
put
you,
it up for adoption or whatever. You know, that's bad. If it's
I've
a
had kids. I've
severe
had
health
kids.
issue, then
The
you do what you got to do. But
the first sign of pregnancy is you miss as a woman is you miss your period. You don't have a period anymore. So you
yeah,
got 30 days, right? You got 4 weeks right there. You miss your period. That's a lot of people would say that, life begins at conception. And that's okay if that's your belief. That's not my belief. It is, but it isn't. But it's like, wait, we got to have some wiggle room in here. We are not at that point anymore. We have wiggle room. It's either as soon as you, yeah, I'm trying to think of a way to put this. As soon as you ejaculate, life begins, or it's you
I
can cut the kid out at 9. Yeah, I tried to do it pretty good, didn't I? I mean, come
I,
on.
I literally watched an old clip of George Carlin today where he was talking about this, where he even said those exact words. He goes, a lot of people want to want to say that life begins at conception, at ejaculation. And he's like, no, no, not every ejaculation deserves a name.
That's right. Did I ever tell you the joke? So for those people listening, uh, there was this kid that went out behind the shed one day, lived on a farm, and boy, he was hard up. He's about 13 years old, and he's just going to pound town. Right? He figured out that he can, get his jollies off, and his dad caught him. And his dad goes, "Son, what are you doing?" He goes, "Well, Dad, I got this thing." And the dad's like, "Look, what you just did, you just dispelled your seed. Those could be doctors and lawyers and scientists, and you just wasted it." He says, "I don't want to ever catch you doing this again." A couple of weeks go by, and the kid's like, "Man, you know how it is when you're 13. Like, God dang it." So the kid goes back behind the shed and he rubs one off. And he goes right into his hand and he looks down at what he's got and he starts feeling bad. He goes, "Doctors and lawyers and scientists, I'll give him another chance." Yeah. Old tip from your Uncle Donzo there is
I've
somebody
just
likes
been
to call me
notified that
Gonzo.
we have been canceled.
So anyway, it's one of those things that there's not a middle ground anymore. I don't like the idea of abortion because abortion is used, and this is one of those other things too. You talk to people you think are liberals, Grateful Dead, fans, and they turn out they're not liberals, they're just logical. They're like, "Look, birth control or abortion. Abortion should be legal in some situations. Of course, the life of the mother and that should be something that a man and a woman that created that child, okay, should be in on, and there should be some small window where you can do it. All right. I don't like that window. Okay. I don't support it, but I support other people having that window, I guess is what I'm saying here. But abortion should not be used as a form of birth control, which is exactly what it is. And that's disgusting. Look, society is going to look back if we have records of what we did between AI, nuclear war, okay, Armageddon's wiping us out. If there's a history book 300 years from now, they're going to be reading it going, "Why were they just killing babies?" But that didn't make any sense. Well, they couldn't put anything around their dicks and prevent them from impregnating people. There wasn't a pill that they could use that could keep them from getting pregnant. I mean, really, think about this. It's fucking absurd. It is. It just is. There's no reason for this shit. You got gals out there that have been pregnant and had abortions 5, 6 times. Why? This is
Speaking. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, yep, you got.
I was going to shift. I was going to shift gears here. Speaking of, now I fucking completely lost my train of things. You shouldn't
skills.
do.
What do we got?
Man rescued after a deodorant gets lost in his rectum.
What? Okay, now wait a minute. We haven't read this yet. Was it just a raw stick or was it the whole tube?
It was a
drinking
can.
glass. Oh,
look! You see the can there? That bitch is all the way up in there.
Holy cow! That dude was going after it, dude. He wasn't cleaning his bathroom naked, and then fell ass down on a can of deodorant.
No,
I guarantee you that right now.
This is in Iran.
In Iran, I ran so far away. No, just joking.
Unidentified, I bet he is. 30-year-old male required medical assistance 2 hours after inserting a deodorant canister into his rectum. Rectum damn near killed him. According to a cringy case study published by the Visual Journal of Emergency Surgery, the Iranian patient was experiencing acute abdominal pain. I bet he was.
Well, no shit, Sherlock.
As a result of his heinous anus. I like what you did there.
Wait. Hello, Mr. Colon. My prostate's feeling swollen. I don't think things are flowing quite so well. I'm feeling quite a heinous because there's something in my boogie. Go ahead.
His heinous anus pursuit of sexual pleasure via what's termed foreign body in the medical community. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
unbelievable. That's
something.
a big ass can.
Kayla Jean's on. Love Kayla like a fat kid loves cake. She says someone always has to pay. Well, this guy's paying the price because they should release his name. All right, that should be part of this. If you're going to
Yeah,
shove foreign objects up your ass, your name should be plastered. Maybe it'll stop people from. Look, I don't want to get too risque here, okay? But I get sometimes people like to do certain things. All right, that makes sense. Some people are into stuff, but this is look at this guy. That's way up. That's up by his spine, dude.
yeah. This
It's
was
like the dude
we
that put the
did.
drinking glass up his hind end.
Yeah, we did that story about the drinking glass, and they basically had to do the same thing in that they had to go in through his stomach and get rid of it that way. And that's wow. Did I mean? I mean,
Kayla,
it's Iran. Maybe they don't sell dildos or
I
stuff
don't
like that
think
there.
they got dildos running the country, but I don't know if they sell them. Kayla just piped up. Could be a new advertisement for either Secret or KY. She goes, I see opportunities. Your mama sure does care about your education, boy.
Well, Kayla, come on over. We'll film a commercial.
Let's go next door. Kayla, we love you. Mad love to you. We appreciate your support. And yeah, thanks for the memories. Anyway, going on, D. Going on, Deez. What?
Here's one that I found very appropriate for us.
Yes, sir. Yes, go ahead. Let's have it.
Also from the New York Post. I'm trying to stop this. There we go. Headline from the New York Post. Why you should get what am I missing? Why you should give a damn about the health benefits of swearing. It is
fucking tell me.
Yes, it's tested scientific fact that people who swear are linked to a range of benefits, scientists say, and those who swear show signs of greater intelligence.
Fucking A, let's go for this bitch.
No fucking shit. I've always said I'm a fucking genius, and
fuckity fuck fucks. Let's see. I'm a poet. And didn't know
wait.
It.
You should wait till I finish reading because you're already fucking the whole thing up.
Well,
obscenities are found in all cultures and languages and have literally been with us since the first caveman stubbed his toe. And it probably was a man, some experts claim, as swearing has usually been associated with soldiers, sailors, and other typical male activities. But the scientists who study swearing, yes, they exist. See, I missed my calling in life.
You did.
This, I could have went to school for this. Note that women now tend to swear as much or even more often than men. So way to go, ladies.
I see Rose is on. She's got a potty mouth too, just saying. Okay. So you're laughing, but we know that. Yeah. Hey, look, this is what I say. Joke them if they can't take a fuck.
Yeah. A couple of things that they tested was like pain tolerance, where they had people put their hands into like a tub of ice water, and one group was allowed to swear and the other group was not. And in every case, the people who were allowed to swear lasted longer in the freezing cold water than the people who couldn't swear.
Well, of course
so
they were.
Also,
they were allowed to get their frustrations out verbally. Of course they could. Son of a bitch. Yeah, of course I buy that.
Well, the other person was still allowed to shout stuff, just not obscenities. So they're saying that there's like a adrenaline trigger in the brain.
Adrenal thing. Yeah, there absolutely is.
Yeah,
when you
comes
curse,
with screaming, fuck.
Yeah. Or other expletives, which I won't say on the show, that aren't suitable for the show. That would definitely get us kicked off Facebook if I said them right now, and probably lose a lot of support for us if I said these words. But yeah, absolutely. It makes you feel better when you can. Oh, Jesus Christ. When you can do that. When the hell is Phares coming on? He said 6:30.
He said around 6:30.
Yeah, well, he better get his little fucking ass in gear and get on here and save us because we're, I tell you, get no respect, baby. We're dying here. We're dying.
Oh
No, we're
no,
not.
I
Nah,
got
we're
plenty to
good.
talk about.
We're good. Okay, well, go fucking talk
How,
about it then. What?
how about
Oh,
another
Tony York.
Jack's?
Wait a minute. Tony York. What the fuck is not acceptable? I'm Tony, Wendy, apple of my eye, light of my life. I'm not going to say it. You're not going to get me to do it because there are two words that I can think of. Okay, two words that are not acceptable that will get us run out with torches and pitchforks. And I'm not saying them. Deez, you have the floor, my friend.
All right. So last week we shared some crazy family stories, and I still have a lot.
Fucking
But
crazies.
I've
Yeah.
I got another good old Jack story. Jack is my father, and if anyone's ever had the pleasure of meeting him, he is he's quite the character. So anyway,
To say the least.
last time I told you about the time that he drove up onto the playground to tell me that supper was ready and to come on home when I was done beating Chris Evans, if you're out there, buddy, beating his ass to a pulp. So,
Yeah.
so now we go and we fast forward to the high school years. I'm in Florida, and wow, this sounds bad, but this is how long The Simpsons has fucking been on TV. This was right at the beginning of The Simpsons, so like they were every fucking where. So I wore a shirt to school, and it had Bart on the front, and all it said was, "I'm Bart Simpson. Who the hell are you?" That's not, that's not closing any churches down or anything.
Not yet.
So anyway, I got sent to the office, this uppity fucking teacher, and I either had to go home or somebody had to bring me another shirt to wear. So I
Wow.
called the old man. Yeah, called the old man. Said, "Hey man, you got to bring me a shirt." He was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "This Bart Simpson shirt they're saying is obscene. So they're either going to send me home or you got to bring me a t-shirt to wear." "Well, you got to be fucking shitting me. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Click, hangs up the phone. So I'm sitting there in the principal's office, and there's me and like two other students that were waiting on their turn to get bitched at for one thing or another. Sitting there, and I'm looking like right at the door where he would walk in.
Right.
About 10, 15 minutes later, her door opens. And as soon as the door opens and I see him, I immediately have to cover my face from laughing and like almost convulsing, trying not to burst out into laughter. So he walks in, he hands me the shirt, and he looks over at the principal and just waves, said, "Here you go. Have a good day." And he turns around and makes sure he turns all the way around and walks out the door. Meanwhile, teacher, principal, jaw just absolutely drops. So what my dad did when he went looking for a t-shirt for me was he found one of my concert t-shirts and he put that on himself. And it was a Faster Pussycat t-shirt. Now the front of it just had the old Faster Pussycat logo. No big deal, right? But on the
Right.
back, in gigantic, capital, bright, like neon green letters, were the words, "Wake the fuck up, dickheads."
Okay. All right. So since we're trading barbs about our old man, that's a good story. All right, I got one for you. Okay, I tell this a lot. This doesn't beat the Donzo got fingered story. Well, maybe it does. I don't know. We're gonna find out. So back when I was a kid, okay. And when I say kid, I mean young man, 19, 20 years old. I'm doing material handling, which is loading, unloading trucks uh, for the business I worked at. And my dad, yeah, he kind of still ran it at the time. So we had his place in the office up there. If anybody's tuning in right now, you're going to love to hear this. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, kiddo. You're going to love to hear this. So this this old, he was old. I mean, maybe he was like in his 50s at the time. I'm a kid. This truck driver pulls down and he's got a load of rails that need to come off the truck. So my thing was I have a telehandler and I go to unload trucks, take the rails or whatever off and put them down or load them up. You get the idea. So it's a boom, telescoping boom. So this guy's got the load that I'm unloading, the rails, on 1x4s. And if you can see it, the forks of the telehandler are about that thick. 1x4, forks of the telehandler. Okay. So I'm trying to jab the telehandler forks under this material. And look, if anybody's watching and you don't like, controversial stuff, leave. Okay, shut it off. If kids are watching right now, which they shouldn't be watching, shut it off because this is funny as hell, but it's kind of in there. So anyway, I go in and I'm trying to jab these rail with the forks to get the forks under it so I can lift them off. And this old truck driver comes around, hillbilly son of a bitch. And he comes up to me and he stops me and I stop what I'm doing. He goes, boy, sure work a lot better if you spit on them forks. I'm like, what? I thought he was joking. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, maybe put some Vaseline on them forks. It'd slide in there a lot easier. I'm like, are you serious? He goes, boy, if I could just spit on your fork. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I'll be right back. So I go in the front office. My old man's in there. If you ever knew my old man, he was a scary son of a bitch. Still is. He's still a scary son of a bitch. He is. All right. Hey, Phares, you got to hear this story, dude.
I'm listening, Donzo. I'm listening.
Not pipe up. So I go in. I'm like, Dad. He's like, what's going on out there? And I said, well, this guy's talking about spitting on my forks so they slide in and using Vaseline. And the old man jumps out of the chair, dude. Fucking levitates. Where's this cocksucker at? And I said, he's right out there. And he goes out and goes up to this truck driver who's got no idea what's going on at this point. And we're all drinking coffee, looking out the door of the office. The old man goes up to this guy. He goes, hey, motherfucker. And the guy's like, yes, sir. He's like, you want to fuck my boy in the ass? And the dude's face went fucking white. He's like, he's like, is that what you're trying to do? That's my boy over there. You're trying to fuck him? And the guy got in his truck. Straps are hanging off the fucking semi-truck. Got in his truck and went up the fucking lane with the load. We never saw him again. So anyway.
You even sound like old JD.
What's that?
I said, you even sound like JD.
I got him nailed, dude. Well, I'll tell you what, brother. Yeah. So yeah, it was I think the dude shit himself. I'm not sure. But there was a stench going up the lane from the shop. This guy left. It's like, what are you doing, dude? You don't even know. Back in the day, you got to remember, Donzo was a young boy. And I had long hair because I grew my hair out. I was playing in rock bands and shit. But, that wasn't like I was wearing my pants down around the half of my ass. Anyway, Kevin Phares.
That's
bro,
me,
what's
buddy.
going on? You are on El Donzo and Deez After Hours. How you doing, bro?
There's no place I'd rather be right now than shooting this shit with you motherfuckers. So
love it. Absolutely love it, Phares.
Yeah.
Did you think of any more embarrassing shit to tell us?
Well, I did get a wisdom tooth pulled this last week. So
how'd that go?
It went okay. Actually, I mean, I'm out drinking and smoking just as much as I was before already. So
I got a question. So when you get your wisdom teeth pulled, they put you under, right?
Yep.
Okay. Did you get molestated while you were under anesthesia?
I sure fucking hope so, because one of those nurses was hot as fuck. So
yeah, it would have been the nurse. Trust me, I've been there before. Hey, Phares, I got a question. If you went camping with somebody, okay, a buddy of yours, and you woke up the next morning and you were groggy, and your rear end was greased up and hurt, would you tell anybody? I mean, would you tell that publicly?
Well, did you tell people publicly when it happened to you, Donzo?
I'm asking you the question. Would you tell anybody? Really? Would you tell people that?
I'd probably be like, hey, is this weird? Like, I'd talk to a few people about it. Like, I'd tell my mom everything. I'd probably ask her and be like,
Okay, well, I was
anything
gonna.
about
Okay,
this?
then I'm not gonna take you camping then because loose lips sink ships. Okay, forget about it.
I was going to say that this one's going off the rails.
Oh my God, where the hell did that come from? Like, it sounds like you had a very personal experience with
If
that,
you ask
Donzo.
Ferris, I'm gotten to know
That-
you pretty good. I love you like a fat kid loves cake. But if you ask anybody who knows El Donzo, I've got the dumbest ass jokes and stories. So
That one's been around for a long time.
that has
Yeah.
been. That's an old one. How about this one?
Okay.
And I had an uncle, okay, who thought he was the world's best ventriloquist. Have I ever told you about this, Ferris?
No, you haven't.
Okay. He thought he was the world's best. He was a shitty ventriloquist. I mean, he sucked. He wasn't good at it at all. He didn't have no game. Like, he couldn't, like, move his lips. He was so bad, okay? What he would do when I was a kid was he would stick his hand up my ass and whisper in my ear to not say anything. That's how bad he was. Like, I don't get it. Ferris, you okay?
Oh my God. Every time I love coming in these things because I never know what the fuck is going to happen. And I know it's always going to be some dumb shit, but the best dumb shit. But it's going to be the best dumb shit. So
Tony York knew I was going with the, hey, if you went camping and woke up and your ass hurt, would you tell anybody? Tony, that is an old joke. Tony, you are 100% correct, brother. You're 100% correct.
oh my
So
God. So
was-
what have you
was
guys
Kat
been up to
live?
this week? Was she live early? Okay, so she wasn't really live. Those were recordings that she had done throughout the week, and she asked me to
Okay,
schedule
and then
them,
live
so,
streamed. I got
yeah,
you.
and so I scheduled them
'Cause
for
I-
her, got all the metadata and everything done. So
Yeah,
I
I
did.
saw you were on the thumbnail, so I was like, okay, he's going to be on live with her. And then you were like, I want to join. So I'm like, okay, well, what's he going to tell her to fuck off and come on ours? Or what?
Kevin,
no,
Kev-
yep.
Kev, plug your show real quick. Tell everybody watching right now about your
Yes.
show.
Yeah,
What you got going on? Yeah,
so
do
I'm
it.
Speechless with Kev Phares. You can go check it out on YouTube. Is my main place, but I'm also on Rumble, Twitch, Facebook, everywhere pretty much. And I'm always talking about things from a college perspective. I like to call myself the least expert you have at Cities 92.9 because I'm
that's
by,
us.
you guys are the fucking redheaded stepchild. Get out of here. You guys already got
All right.
that shit on lock. No,
I hate
but,
that.
But I mean, I always cover things that oftentimes have to do with the culture war and what's going on, not only on our college campuses, but across. I mean, I always say to everybody, you know, and on a college campus, I feel speechless all the time. I mean, you feel like as a conservative, you can't share your opinion. If you do, you might get a bad grade. You might even have to go to the dean's office, something like that. But it's the same thing in the work environment nowadays, or just in commonplace in society. If you want to have a conversation at a dinner table about how men are men and women are women, and you can't change that, people feel like they have to do that in a hushed voice. If you want to be by the water cooler at your job and say a joke that you know that your colleague will think is funny, but fucking Karen in the cubicle next door is going to think is fucking offensive, you can't say that shit. Everybody feels speechless nowadays, and it's not just on a college campus. It's across the country, even across the world in some cases, and I cover those stories. The things that you're not supposed to say, the things that you're not supposed to talk about, that's what I talk about. And so tomorrow I'm talking, it's Pride Month, everybody. Oh man, and am I celebrating? Celebrating Pride Month?
And I gotta say this right now. Pride Month, look, if you're gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexual, queer, whatever hey, good for you. I love everybody all the same. If you're a good person, you're a good person, okay? I don't take that away from anybody. But on the other hand, don't tell us that and this isn't a conservative thing, and Deez and I talked about this before you got on. This is a conservative thing. It's got nothing to do with conservatism. If somebody goes, hey, you can do what you want to do, don't impose it on me, that's not conservatism. You're not in the same boat we're in. You're just logical. You're just like, fuck, this ain't right. I don't do what you do. Don't push it on my kids.
Yeah, that's a
just
big
the
one.
point I wanted to make.
I kind of agree with that. The thing is, though, is that I have a problem with is, so like the LGBs, like go do your thing, like sleep with who you want to sleep with. Just don't make it my problem. Don't push it on my kids. But the T is where the Transformers, those are the ones that kind of I have a little bit of an issue with because like, okay, sure. Like put an axe wound between your legs. If that's what you want to do, like there's an argument to be made there. But to say you're a woman when like you're obviously not a woman when you were born with XY chromosomes, to say you're a woman It's just blatantly false. It's an attack on objective truth. And that's where I have the issue with it is you're starting to come after facts, like absolute objective facts that men are men and women are women. And they're trying to say that that's not true. And that's where I have the issue with it when it comes to the T's, the Transformers, is like, no, there is objective truth. We need to stand up for objective truth. And because if we don't have objective truth, then we have nothing as a society. If men are not men and men can change that, and women are not women and that can change as well, then who's to say like I can't be a helicopter? Or
I agree.
I can be Superman, and if I jump off a building, I'll be able to fly. Like, no, that's not how it works.
Now, there's two things to this that I want to bring up, Kev, and you tell me where I'm going wrong with this. It's going to kind of be an argument, but it's going to kind of not be an argument, okay? And I want to know what you think.
Okay.
So first of all, Deez, you and I talked about this on the show. Caitlyn Jenner, Bruce Jenner. We'll call her Caitlyn, whatever. I mean, she's on our side. She's pretty conservative. Whatever.
She's not, though. She's not on our side. That's the way I see it.
No, she's not on our side, but she has come out and she's against trans in sports. She's against males in women's sports. So maybe she's not on our side, but she's closer to our side. She is on the other. Okay, let's just call a spade a spade.
She's not asking for special treatment.
No,
that's where I
right.
Look, if you feel that you're the opposite sex than you are, fine, whatever. But don't expect me to change my life because of it, and don't expect us to, completely alter rules for you because you feel this way. It is, that's where I draw the line. That's where I have the issue. Like human rights, Americans' rights. That's what I believe in. Not, you shouldn't get a whole special set of circumstances just because you feel that you're the opposite sex of what you were born. If you live your life whatever sex you choose, that's fine. But don't expect us to parade you to the front of the line just because all of a sudden, you want to chop off your woo-wee.
Couldn't agree more. But one point I want to make is Bruce
and stay away from the fucking kids.
Yeah, stay away from the kids.
Absolutely.
Leave the kids. Hey, teacher, leave them kids alone, okay? One point I want to make about Bruce Jenner. Bruce Jenner took 50 years to decide. Now, maybe if times were different back in the 70s or 80s, it may have changed. But he took a long time to decide and come to the fact that he had gender dysphoria. Did he not? I mean,
but I think a big part of that was society's acceptance of, I think that, he said that he has felt that way for a very long time and used to cross-dress way back in the day.
He did.
I think as the days went on to where it became more and more prevalent and acceptable. And yeah, I see, I know where you're going with your point, and I agree with that. But I think that the societal change to acceptance is probably what really pushed him over the edge.
There's two things here with this, and you said you agree with my point. We've talked about this ad nauseum. Okay, I'm gonna make it
very much nauseum.
Very much nauseum. The point is, Bruce Jenner had a long time to think about this and come to this conclusion. He has gender dysphoria. He decided over 50 years, because nobody was prodding him and forcing him into this. He said, hey, look, I feel like a woman in a man's body. I'm going to do this. Hey, good for Caitlyn Jenner. We talked about Buck Angel, the porn star. This woman, born a woman, transitioned to a male porn star. She didn't have the Hudathunket surgery down there, the addictomy or whatever it's called. Okay, but he's happy. He is comfortable. And you know what? That's what it is. You got to go to psychiatry. You got to make sure it is what it is. When they go out, they tell the kids, and we've said this before, when they go out and encourage your kids to be transgender, okay, or a kid plays with a Barbie doll, a boy, and they say, well, that's because you're really a girl. You're ruining people. This is something no different than if you want to have a leg amputated because you have body dysphoria. That's not something that should be taken lightly.
That's another place that I was going to say is like, why is it okay in society now for me to say, well, I believe I'm a woman, and so then I can go have an amputation, an elective, a cosmetic amputation. But if I were to go in and say, you know what, I really feel like I just shouldn't have my right arm, That would be a lot more like, I don't think so. I don't think we're going to do that. Like you can't really just have an elective amputation like that. Why are those not seen as comparable or the same? The other thing I want to mention too that you said is it's about happiness, or like that person's happy. And I think that's a huge issue that we have in society, is the focus on being happy. I don't really give a fuck about your happiness. I'll be straight up. Like what you do, what makes you happy. No, life is not about doing what makes you happy. Life is about doing what's right and doing what's wrong. There's been a lot of times in life where I've done something that's right that doesn't make me happy. That's the thing. And so, and like I had an Uber driver last night. I was going out to the bar. I had an Uber driver.
Right.
Snow cone color hair lady. Would have thought she would have been one of the most liberal people I had ever met. Starts going on a rant about how her husband left her because her husband wanted to become a woman, abandoned her children, and their entire life together, their house, everything. Now this lady has to do full-time Uber to provide for herself, gets no child support, nothing.
I agree with you.
And so this guy's doing this guy's doing what makes him happy while ruining other people's lives. Like, I don't care about what makes you happy at the end of the day. I care about how you treat other people, and are you doing what's right versus what makes you happy.
So I have a friend of mine, Kev.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's a good friend of mine. I'm not going to mention his name. He's a liberal guy. Okay, I worked with him for a lot of years. Got mad respect for the guy. All right, he's gay. And he's been gay his whole life since he was a teenager. He's just attracted to men, but he did the thing. He went out and he had kids and provided for his wife and his children. And once his kids were getting older, he just came to that realization, this is not me. And he talked to his wife at the time, and they got divorced and they tried to work through it. But this was, look, when somebody has an affliction, an honest to God affliction for this stuff, that's something you can't. Okay, let's put it this way. If you as a man are attracted to, if you're a tit guy, if you're a boob guy, that's never going to change. Okay. You just can't process out of that. That's what turns you on. All right. Sexual kinks, whatever you want to call them. That's not kinks, but you get the idea.
No, I know what you mean. Yep.
If somebody is legitimately homosexual, you're never going to get them to not be homosexual. That's in them. Now, we can argue all day about why that is. But the point is, that's how these people feel. And if that's really how somebody feels, then they shouldn't have to live a closeted life. They should be able to do as they please. All right. But when we talk about the guy that, decided he wanted to be a woman and leave his old lady, it's not right that he did that in the first place. But what are the reasons he did that? It goes back to the guy I know that's a good friend of mine that was a transvestite, dressed like a woman, wanted to be passable, wanted to go hang out at clubs and stuff like that. I asked him, I said, what would have happened? Because he was having mental issues at the time. I mean, I love the guy to death. All right, still do. He'd come over and drink scotch with me any day of the week. All right. This is one of my best friends, but he was having a tough time. I said, what would have happened if you went to a psychiatrist and the psychiatrist said, well, Mr. X, this is actually why you're doing this, is because you're actually a female trapped in a man's body, and we need to transition you. He'd have done it at that time. Now he's good to go now, but at that time he was very vulnerable. Look, this should be treated delicately is all I'm saying. It shouldn't be thrown around willy-nilly. It should be forced on anybody. And if anybody's going to change their gender, they should be adults, and their minds should be developed before they do it. They should know what they're doing. Kids don't know.
Yeah. And I think that the way I want to say this too is like, there's a right and a wrong way to do things. So even if you feel like you're a woman or anything like that, and you want to exit your marriage, there is a right way to do that. And that's to still be supportive, still do your best, and to try to be the best parent that you can be in that situation.
Absolutely.
To not necessarily abandon the entire relationship with both the ex-wife and the family. And you can still try to live your truth and that bullshit while still doing the right thing. And I think that's what I think a lot of times that kind of middle ground on it escapes the conversation, because the left is oftentimes like, everybody, you just need to do what makes you happy, even if that means trampling over everything that everybody else in your way. And the right is usually like where I come from a little bit more. It's like, fuck your feelings. do what's right over your happiness. And that's usually where I align more so, but there is a middle ground that you can find where you can do what's right while also finding something that makes you happy out of it.
So I got a question.
I mean, you're
Oh, go
young.
ahead.
You're gonna find sometimes in life that it isn't as much as I would like it to be that cut and dry. Sometimes you do have to say, you know what, fuck it. This is what I want to do to make me happy, and not necessarily that particular scenario with the whole I'm gonna go be a woman now, fuck the kids thing. But you'll see that sometimes you do have to balance that out.
So
Now,
what I want to get into, I'm sorry, Deez, did I cut you off, bro?
well, I was just gonna hopefully the last thing on this particular subject. I went down a very disturbing rabbit hole today. Actually, I don't even remember who tweeted it, but it was. I ended up Googling the phalloplasty.
Oh God.
It's horrible.
All I'm going to say is I, at the very least, tip my cap to people that take it that far, because that looks absolutely fucking brutal.
And they're on a lifetime of medication, and the pharmaceutical companies are making hundreds of $1,000,000 a year off this. This is a business venture. Nobody gives a shit. Higher
Well,
up,
Hunter.
I do. If somebody came in, if somebody was walking down the road right now, was transgender or a guy in a dress and said, man, I need to eat. I would give him the shirt off whatever the fuck they are, the shirt off my back. I literally would.
Here's
nice
here's
people,
the
I'll
thing
take
that
care of them.
blew my fucking mind the most. Okay, when a female decides to fully transition to a male and get that, they take the little button, the little man in the boat, and they actually put it at the base of the, like, I don't know. That doesn't make sense. You better hope that you get you somebody that doesn't have a gag reflex, I guess.
Look, for the right amount of money, anybody will do anything surgery wise. Okay. Now, Kev, the point I want to get to with you is, so if this guy, let's take this scenario. If this guy woke up, and let's not take what you said. Let's change it a little bit. This guy woke up and he said, you know what? For 40 years, I thought I was a woman. I thought I was a female. And he went to his wife and said, look, honey, I love you. I love the kids. I'm going to take care of you. But I've had this metamorphosis brewing inside me for 40 years. Now I'm going to do what I can for you. I'm going to take care of my affairs. I'm going to be responsible because we had those kids together. We grew this life together. And I'm going to take care of you. But this is the adventure I'm going on now. I would say adventure. This is where I want to be. And he took care of her, and he supported her, and he supported his kids. How would you feel about that?
It'd be a much better situation. Look, I still have kind of an issue with the whole idea of perpetuating the falsity that is
I do too.
Men and women can change, and that it's interchangeable. I think that's an insult to women. I think it's an insult to the entire idea of gender.
1,000%.
But at the end of the day, if that's what I'm trying to say is the middle ground on it is if the person, if they want to pretend and play make believe the rest of their life, as long as they're doing it in a way that tries to mitigate the impact and the negative impact that it has on the people that are in their life, then it's less of an issue. Then it becomes more of a political issue than it is a social issue.
And I agree with that, Kev. I agree with you 100%, buddy. 100%. But I got to get in here and get this in, and I want to emphasize this. There are literally people out there that believe they are born in the wrong gender. There's not a lot of them.
Yeah.
All right. This has become a fucking fad pushing this on people.
No, absolutely.
But there are a select few people that really feel like this. They shouldn't be demonized. They should be taken care of. I mean, mentally. Look, before anybody transitions, you better make sure that you don't want that dick between your legs before you chop it off, because you can't put it back on. This needs to be taken. My point is, it needs to be taken seriously. Transgenderism. It should be treated like any other dysphoria that anybody has. It shouldn't be celebrated. It should be cared for. It should be nurtured. We need to make sure these people are really doing what they want to do. And look, Deez and I agree. Beyond 18 years old, if somebody's going to go out and do this, then that's what they're going to do. But we shouldn't be encouraging this and telling people this is what you are.
No,
We shouldn't be changing people's genders. It's bullshit. It's stupid. And I kind of explained it different than I think what you were doing, but I think we agree on that. It's like,
no, I think so. And that's what I tried when I first started talking about because I've been talking about these issues for years now. I mean,
Right.
I've been in the political commentary game for kind of a while
and you've
now.
got your shit together. You run a good show. You know your stuff.
Thank you. But I've noticed like I get really angry about especially that one and abortion too. Those are two issues that I've got just really that I come off really angry. But I agree with you on the fact that it needs to be cared for, like that we need to treat it with a sense of care. That these people are obviously struggling with a serious mental affliction. And that needs to be treated kindly. I just get so angry because it's become so perverse in our society. Like if you look back to right before I was born, when Bill Clinton was president, abortion, kind of comparing the two topics, abortion when Bill Clinton was president was talked about as safe, legal, and rare.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I could kind of get on board with that. I'm still 100% pro-life, but in terms of the public sphere and finding that common ground and finding a middle ground that we can agree on as a society, safe, legal, and rare is good enough for me. But now we have a society that praises it and says, I couldn't do anything in my life if I hadn't had an abortion. I've had 12 abortions. Shout your abortion, love your abortion, all that stuff. And then it pisses me off and pushes me to a point where I'm so angry. And now I'm like, nope, I don't even want safe, legal, and rare anymore. I want no abortion ever. And I want punishment for people that want abortion because it's pushed me to that edge. And that's how the trans issue has come for me. It started off as like, you know what? Do your thing. Just keep it away from me. And that's perfectly
it bit us
fine.
in the ass doing that.
Exactly. It's the give an inch and they'll take a mile mentality. It started off as gays want to get married. And I was like, go for it. Who cares? Get the same tax benefits. I don't really give a shit. But now I can tell you I'm a woman and you have to oblige that. Otherwise, you're going to get fired from your job. I'm going to firebomb your house and you're going to be put into the public sphere and stoned in the middle of the street. Like, that's why that's why it's so hard to maintain a sense of like kindness and empathy because there is no empathy coming from the other side for the people that see reality for what it is.
Let's not forget the whole reason that transgenderism is blown up right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It comes on the heels of Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Yeah. Okay. This is a weaponization of a small group of people to piss everybody off and get everybody fighting. That's all this is. This is a distraction. And
it's working. I'm pissed off.
Working.
Donzo.
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely working. So I'm going to tell you something right now. I'll say this on the record. I care more about transgender rights than Joe Biden or George Soros or the WEC or the WHO. Because I care about human beings in general. Okay? I care more about them than they do because they're weaponizing them. I see them as somebody that needs help. They see them as a fucking weapon.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's
what
undeniable.
have we been talking about for the last couple of months? You know, the big story as far as the impending World War III and everything in Ukraine and the advances of AI. But instead, we're talking about Dylan Mulvaney and Leah Thomas and what's the chick's name? The blonde
Riley Gaines
and Target. Like, you know, and both sides are guilty of this. Like, hey, don't worry about the shit that really matters to America and the world. Instead, let's argue over trans rights or abortion rights, things like that.
Okay, Deez, I agree with you, but the difference is, and Kev, I think you're gonna agree. I hope you do. If you don't, you don't. That's fine. Okay, the reason we talk about this, and when we talk about this, when Deez talks about it, when Phares talks about it, we always acknowledge the fact that this is political warfare. We're not really pissed off because some dude's competing in women's sports. We're pissed off that this is being done for this particular reason. And Deez, we always acknowledge that, bro. We always acknowledge that. This is what's going on. This is why we're pissed about it. You know, Coors Light came out and made an LGBTQ can. I don't give a shit. I'll still drink Coors Light if that's what I'm drinking. Yeah, okay, there's lesbian, gays, whatever, transgenders. They exist. They're saying, hey, drink our beer. I don't fucking care. Okay, I don't fucking care. But when you get into make-believe, because this is what they've been told to do, I draw the line there. I draw the fucking line. I'm not doing it anymore.
Agreed.
Yeah, well, and the other thing with it too, Deez, and because I've heard that before, it's like I've had people that are like, I'm not going to watch or listen to your show anymore because you talk too much about this culture war stuff. Like we have way bigger fish to fry, all that stuff, and I think that creates a false dichotomy. I think it creates an idea that you can either talk about the impending World War III, Russia, Ukraine, or you could talk about these social issues. And I really think you could talk about both because I actually think they're tied together. Because and it's like
they are.
And it's like Donzo said, we're not mad that you're pushing up gay crap. Like I don't really care. Like I said before, like sure, gays can get married, like do what you want, just don't shove it down my throat, is really at the end of the day where I fall on it. What I have a problem with though is that part of the agenda, the New World Order that is openly talked about by the World Economic Forum and a lot of people involved in things like that, is to destroy truth and to promote propaganda that disturbs and destroys society and tears society apart. It's part of a Marxist agenda. It's part of a larger agenda. And so to talk about it is to expose it as much as we can with Ukraine and World War III and the potential end of the world kind of stuff. Like, I think it all goes together. And I think like Donzo said, it's not just about some dude pretending to be a chick. It's about the destruction of truth and because I think the destruction of truth is as big of a deal, if not bigger, than Russia and Ukraine fighting and China possibly taking over Taiwan and the destruction of the American dollar. Like all that stuff is intertwined and important.
So our job, Kev, and I think both of you guys agree with me on this, and everybody at Cities agrees with this, and most of the, we'll say, conservative leaning radio hosts will agree with this. It's gone beyond reporting news at this point. Yeah, we can report news. We can sit down and say, hey, Target lost $30 million this month because they ran a campaign. Everybody goes, oh, that's fucked up because it's took it and changed it. What we got to do is we got to, with logic and reason, tell people why this is bad. We have to say those things. We're not just going to come out and report the news. We're not going to give a necessarily biased opinion. We're going to use facts, and we're going to set up and say, this is what people think. Why is this going on? California, we talked about this. California getting rid of natural gas appliances, furnaces, stoves. They're getting rid of fossil fuel vehicles. They don't have a grid that can handle this. Why are they doing it? I'll tell you why they're doing it. Because they don't want the fucking middle class in California. They want homeless people and they want the elite. That's all they want. There's no other thing that makes sense. We have to explain to people. We can't just get on here and piss and moan. We have to explain and do that legwork for the people that are listening to say, this is why this is happening. Now, you can go out and do your own research after we tell you. Do it. Don't take, like LeVar Burton used to say on Reading Rainbow, don't take my word for it. Go out there and find it. But I'm telling you right now, this is what we have to do. And Phares, you do it. Deez, you do it. I do it. And the other ones do it as well. And that's what we got to do. If you're going to sit down and listen to one of our shows, whether it's Speechless or the Donzo and Deez show, you're going to laugh. You're going to have a great time. Or McKinsey, you're going to have a great time. But we're going to explain to you why we're saying this.
Well, that and the other thing, too, is like I always tell people, like, okay, yeah, I work with Cities 92.9. I'm not a journalist. I am an activist. I've always been an activist. Before I was even on the radio, before I ever had a show, I've been an activist. I'm a conservative activist. I've been in conservative activism since I was like 15, 16. I'm out there telling you my opinion. I don't claim to be a hard journalist or anything. Some things that I do resemble journalism, like when I go out and talk to protesters and stuff like that. But I'm an activist that has a radio show, that has a podcast, and I'm pushing my opinion. I'll always tell you that. You want to know the difference between me and the Washington Post? I'm honest with you. I will tell you that it's my opinion, I'm telling you. And so, no, you're not going to find real journalism anymore. You're going to find opinions. And what I always recommend to people is when you're done listening to my show, go listen to Pod Save America or there's other ones out there. You got to come up with the names, but there's a bunch of different like liberal lefty podcasts. The Young Turks. The Young Turks is like a socialist.
Like, yeah, absolutely.
Like, go listen to them. If you want to get a range of opinions, if you want to get objective news, the way you do it is you listen to multiple news sources and then find what everybody is saying that is the same. And that's the objective news story right there.
Now, I got a question, Kev. I want to
Yeah.
ask you real quick, brother. The definitions have changed.
Yeah.
But what would you say? What would you say if I called you a liberal right now? No, I'm saying, Kev, you're a liberal. You're a liberal, but you identify as a conservative. You're a liberal. What would you say? Because I'll tell you why. Because everything we're talking about on these shows is what liberals were talking about 40, 50 years ago.
Well, yeah. Well,
think
and
about
like,
this.
if you bring because here's the thing, it's like I study political philosophy. That's part of my political science major. And like,
You've seen how far this has gone out of whack.
So yeah, and so like there are a lot of things that the founder, who's considered to be the founder of conservative thought, is Edmund Burke, and there's a lot of things that I agree with him on. When you go back and read like how he believes society should run and how things should work, I like Edmund Burke a lot. But the founder of like what liberalism originally was is John Locke. John Locke is considered to be one of the main founders of liberalism, and then there's hints of like Socrates and Plato that also are rooted that liberalism is rooted in. But a lot of it's John Locke, and John Locke is almost verbatim. Thomas Jefferson took life, liberty, and John Locke had it as property. It was life, liberty, and property are fundamental human rights. But Thomas Jefferson obviously made it in our Declaration of Independence: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And so like in terms of am I a liberal or am I conservative? I mean, you could claim that entirely labels don't even matter anymore, because a liberal back during JFK's time is a conservative nowadays. But so like, you're not wrong if you want to call me a liberal, but by today's standards and by the societal definition, I'm a conservative, and I'm a pretty far right conservative. But if you take the philosophical definitions, I'm in the middle somewhere.
You are 100%. That wasn't a gotcha thing that I want.
No, I know.
I was just that. But let's go back. Okay, let's talk about conservatism. We just got done saying, hey, if you're gay, you want to go down on your boyfriend, do it. We don't care. If you want to be transgender, do it when you're an adult, but it needs to be taken care of. If you want to have an abortion, we need to have a time frame on here. We can't be willy-nilly about it. If we'd have gone back 70 years, Kevin, we would have been considered liberals. But just think about it. Think about that. Yeah. We say, hey, you want to smoke pot, smoke pot. You want to do coke. Don't hurt anybody. That's
why I always say
liberals.
Well, I've got some issues with the drug ones, and that's where I think I go.
I do too. I don't support drugs. I don't condone drugs, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. As long as what you do does not hurt anybody else, and that's not like just some guy on the street. That's your wife, your children. Okay? Because I've had one of my best friends, Ron, died from a fentanyl overdose because he couldn't stop doing coke. He was in his 50s. I love the guy like a brother. He was a family member to me. And you know what? I probably should have stepped in and fought a little harder. Wouldn't have done any good, but it would have made me feel better about myself. All right? But he did that to himself, and he hurt his family. So when I say, I don't care what you do, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody, that includes stuff like that. That hurt his family. That hurt his kids. That hurt his grandchildren. That hurt me. That hurt his coworkers. That hurt everybody.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of where I lie on it a bit too, a little, but I just see that the majority of times when it comes to significant illicit substances, like your heroin, crack, coke, everything like that, I think overall there's very few ways that you can do a drug like that and it not hurt somebody.
I agree. It's hard to mitigate it because it's so damn addictive. I don't condone it, but on the other hand, I know that no matter how illegal you make something, it's not. And I'm not. Deez agrees with me, but I'm not really taking a libertarian standpoint. I'm taking a realistic standpoint on it. If I can say, hey, it doesn't matter how much gun control you put in, it's not going to get rid of, murder in the big cities. But on the other hand, too, that's because of those liberal policies in the big cities. They have liberal policies with drugs. All right. The biggest thing right now, coke, people get coked up. They get out of control. They get drunk. They get out of control. We get it. The biggest issue we have right now is fentanyl in this country. And it's because the fucking president of the United States has opened up the southern border and has been sucking China's dong and letting all this fentanyl bullshit come over. So we're pissing and moaning about heroin and ecstasy and cocaine and pot when we should be worried about the fucking war that's going on right now at the southern border, because we're being fucking invaded and we're giving 130 billion fucking dollars to the Ukraine. Yeah, I said the Ukraine. You can't say the Ukraine because it's racist and bigoted. Thoughts?
Yeah. Here's we're going to shift gears here a little bit and talk about something else that we should worry about. That this came across the wire yesterday. An AI drone kills human operator during simulation, which the U.S. Air Force says didn't take place. Did
Thanks,
either one of you
McKinsey.
hear this story?
I haven't heard about this one. No.
So this is from Sky News. So take it for what it's worth. But it says an AI-controlled drone, quote, killed its human operator in a simulated test reportedly staged by the U.S. military, which denies such a test ever took place. It turned on its operator to stop it from interfering with its mission, said Air Force Colonel Tucker Cinco Hamilton during a Future Combat Air and Space Capabilities Summit in London. Quote, we were training it in simulation to identify and target a SAM threat, and then the operator would say, yes, kill that threat, he said. The system started realizing that while they did identify the threat at times, the human operator would tell it not to kill the threat, but it got its points by taking that threat. So what did it do? It killed the operator. It killed the operator because that person was keeping it from accomplishing its objective. Thoughts?
Talked. This has gotten out of control. Did nobody watch the film Terminator?
Or
no,
iRobot?
Did somebody watch the film Terminator and go, hey, we got to make this a reality?
Yeah.
Seriously,
it gets worse.
What's going on?
It gets worse. We trained the system, hey, don't kill the operator. That's bad. You're going to lose points if you do that. So what does it start doing? It starts destroying the communication tower that the operator uses to communicate with the drone to stop it from killing the target. What in the actual fuck?
They're becoming self-aware is what's going on right now. That AI is becoming self-aware. AI said this with Chat GPT and all this other bullshit. Okay. First of all, this has become an arms race. Just like the nuclear weapons was an arms race, because every country was going, shit, they figured out how to do nukes. Now we got to do it. So we have, mutually assured destruction. We need to make sure that we build our arsenal up so the other ones can't hit us. Okay. That's what's going on with AI right now. Now, you got all these people come out and say, we need to stop AI, put a halt to it. You think fucking China is going to do that? You think Russia is going to do that? You think North Korea is going to do that? No, because they know that we're still doing it. The United States government is still creating AI beyond the likes of anything anybody can imagine. Okay. And also China's doing it as well. This is the new arms race. There was just a story that came out a couple days ago that AI is as critical as nuclear weapons to the destruction of mankind.
Oh, undoubtedly. I mean, did you guys see the second Avengers movie?
I've never watched the Avengers.
Really?
Age of Ultron.
I would go to the Avengers if I was pissing on them.
Age of Ultron is now like a realistic fiction movie, basically, because that was all about an AI robot that like took over and wanted to like destroy humanity, which is just like a lot of other movies you've seen. But like that's really, I mean, it's kind of, I see being super supportive of AI, because I know some conservatives that are like, oh, I love technological advancement. I want to see what we can do. That's actually a really progressive ideology, because the idea of progressivism at its base is just the idea that you support progress in all areas, or progress at any cost, at all costs. And that's kind of what a lot of AI stuff has done. You know, like the way I see it too is that we are always, what the public has at our discretion to use freely is always like 10 to 20 years behind what technology actually is at, like what people can actually do. And so if we're just now getting the public access to like Chat GPT and like that kind of AI, the shit that
We're
they have
we're
behind closed doors is
way
like,
behind the 8 ball, aren't we?
oh yeah, like
Yeah.
I can't even fathom what they have behind
That's
closed doors.
and Kev Phares was speechless. He made a great point. If this is what the general fucking public has access to, you can't even imagine what the governments are doing right now.
Mhm.
You can't imagine what China has. You can't imagine what the US government has. They have an arsenal of artificial intelligence already built up because they're doing that because it's like the space race. We go back to the 60s with the space race. All right, everybody's trying to get to the moon first. That's what they're doing with artificial intelligence. Kev, you knocked that out of the park with the way you said that, bro.
Exactly. I mean, that's just the way I see it. And like, it's kind of just a sad reality that I like to live or do my best to live in ignorance of, is like the amount of power and the amount of weaponry and technology that the government has could destroy the American populace, destroy the world in a matter of seconds. I mean, and that's not just nuclear weapons. Like, they definitely have, like, aliens exist, everybody. I know it to be like, honestly, like I just accept that as fact. Aliens
I do
exist.
too.
They know a crap ton about it, and they're just not telling us. The CIA killed JFK. That's basically like understood knowledge. I mean, you can, if you guys, there's a great show that recently came out on HBO Max called White House Plumbers, and it's all about actually the guys that did Watergate. And one of them was
Liddy.
G. Gordon Liddy, and
he was at my dad. G. Gordon Liddy was at my dad's wedding.
Really? Was he really?
Yes.
That's insane.
Yes.
Did you know he also he starred in like 2 episodes of Miami Vice too?
Yeah, he was at my dad's wedding. My dad got married at the Soldier of Fortune convention in '82 out in Las Vegas, and G. Gordon Liddy there's a picture of him and my dad. If my mom gets on here, she'll confirm it. But anyway, sorry, Kev, I jumped in there with a, anecdotal
No, it's
story.
all good. I mean, I just, and I know I'm kind of taking us off on a tangent a little bit, but like Howard Hunt, who is the partner of G. Gordon Liddy for the whole Watergate thing, had admitted to being a part of the Dallas mission to kill JFK.
Yeah, I mean, it's out there, dude. It's out there. So if the government will kill a sitting president of the United States, like 80 years ago, how 60s to the 20 now, like, yeah, about 80 years ago, then the government, there's nothing the government wouldn't do. And especially our 3-letter agencies. You're right. 60 years ago. I'm awful at math. Don't expect math is hard. And so is your beep.
But yeah, so the government, when it comes to the AI and everything, I just don't trust the government whatsoever. And that's where I start getting a little bit more into the libertarian leaning than the conservative leaning. It's just like, the government shit. And that's like what I don't understand about, this is a major tangent, but like, that's what I don't understand about like socialists, right? The whole idea, like, I've talked to socialists and they're like, we need gun control. And I'm like, what? And we need the government to take our money and redistribute it. But then like right after that, I'll be like, wait, but like, you're also like for like civil rights and everything, right? Don't you see like what the government's done to black people historically? Like everything. And they're like, yeah, the government's awful. And I'm like, but you also want to give them all the power. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, where does that make sense?
You're right. The government's awful, but we want the government to run us. The only way socialism works for anybody, is the elites love socialism because they're getting all the money from this.
Exactly.
Okay, the highest ups. And then the fucking broke, who they're giving reparations to, they're giving the needle program to, they're giving $300 a week to, and they're keeping them as slaves. It works for them. With those two classes, anybody in the middle, they're screwed. It doesn't work for anybody else. And this Che Guevara, this should show you what has gone on over the years. It is not what people think it is. Now, look, if we live in a socialist utopia to where Kevin, Deez, and El Donzo all own a $500,000 home and all have food on the table and we don't have to do anything and imagine no possessions. Hey, that's great. Okay. But that's not the reality of it. It's never worked. It never will work for people like us that are on here or people that are actually tuning in and listening to it. It will never work for you. You're going to be broke. You're not going to own a fucking thing.
Even if like socialism and the utopia like could actually happen, like what a boring life that would be. Like literally,
It
just
would
like,
be absolutely horrible.
like there'd be no motivation. Like I'm a very competitive person. Living in a world where basically competition wouldn't exist, like that'd be
Right.
awful. That'd be so boring. I'm a winner and I beat everybody all the time. I'm the best. And I need to prove that every day of my life.
Yeah, I think we all do. Look, here's the thing. God made all men equal. We all came out of the womb. Now, that's not necessarily the truth, but we get where they're going with that. We came out of the womb equal. Kev, you were born just like I was born. Deez, you were born just like I was born. We're all born the same way. We came out crying, we got smacked, and we started growing up. It was up to us what we did with our lives and who we became. Okay? That destiny was ultimately in our hands. And that's just the way I feel about it. Yeah. Tony York says all men were born. He says Sam Colt made them all equal. And that's right.
That's funny.
Speaking of aliens, did you guys see that story in the Post last week about new footage that came out over California?
Oh yeah, the Marines. The Marines. It was out in California. I think it was what was that? If you've drank in the water at Camp Lejeune. No,
right.
I think it was 29 Palms out there. Pull it up real quick. Yeah, let's see that.
You can see that's right on the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it wasn't Mythbusters. It was another show. Had something similar to this. That the military was launching flares, and they recreated something similar to this perfectly a couple years ago. It looked just like it, and it was absolutely believable that it was a UFO. I believe in UFOs. I believe in aliens. Because who the fuck are we to say we're the only ones in the universe? That's stupid.
Yeah, there's.
All right, that fucking goes against the odds. Look, if you want to say God created man, God created this, okay, fine. We'll have that debate. But I'm going to tell you right now, the universe is vast. Okay, there's no way you can say that we are the only intelligent life because. To be honest with you, we're not that fucking intelligent. I'm just saying.
I 100% believe that.
Wait a second. I think I'm a woman. We're not that fucking intelligent, okay? So
yeah,
anyway,
I agree with you.
We're looking at this right now. It's 5 lights. They said it was Deez, if I'm not mistaken. They said it was the size of a football field. Did they not?
Yeah, they said it's pretty damn large. I wish the video would play, but like there's actual video. If you go to the New York Post, you can watch this thing just kind of hover for like, I want to say almost 90 seconds, or actually it's just about a minute.
I don't know if this is a joke, but Ryan McKenzie just popped up. He said those are Orion's belts. I don't know if that's a joke because his name is Ryan, but it's kind of funny.
Well,
those are not Orion's belts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Orion's belt is what? 3 stars, I believe. And it's much because that's one of my favorite constellations. And it's 3 stars. I think there might be a couple. I know, right?
Hey, I'm not into astrology, but I love gazing at Uranus.
Yeah. But it's 3 stars. I think there might be 1 or 2 very weak stars. Those are like all the same brightness. And the one on the left that's in the circle, like that looks perfect. But then if you look at the one in the red circle, there's one that kind of drops down a little bit, which makes me wonder, I mean, it could be like an organized bunch of nerds with some drones or whatever.
Yeah.
But either way, like I'm with you. There's no way anybody will ever convince me that that we are the only life in this universe.
Can I tell you the strangest? Okay, so fucking El Donzo time here. I want to tell you the strangest UFO I've ever seen, and I have researched this. Shut up, Kev. Come on, man. Come on, you're laughing at me. You're like
I'm always laughing at
drunk. He was drunk and he saw some shit one night. He was smoking the old peyote. No, really, seriously, dude. I want to tell you about the story I got.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, fucking Phares. Okay, let's hear it. You little dick. I was out. My father had built a hunting cabin, and before it was actually up and going, It was just the foundation, and the house was set there, or the shed was set there. And my buddy and I, Ben, we were out just, we got some beer from somebody. We're 14, 15 years old, just drinking, having a merry time. And I don't know if he was there for this or not, actually. But anyway, I saw what looked like a flying V, okay? Like this, of geese, shadow geese, okay? They looked like they were just shadows. And it was just hovering towards the moon. And when I got to and it was huge. It looked like a flying V of geese. And when I got to the moon, it went behind the moon and came out on the other side. And it just like drifted off to the horizon. That's the strangest UFO, UAP, whatever you want to call it, that I've ever seen in my life. I've seen bright lights. Can't say what they were. Maybe it was a meteor. But this was odd because I watched this. This is at 2 in the morning. 2 in the morning. So, yeah, I absolutely believe there's other life out there. I believe there's aliens. I believe in all this shit. My nephew, the little goofball, his parents, I tell you what, my nephew, you remember my nephew Deez that worked out at the shop?
Which one?
He was there, young kid. Not going to mention his name, young kid.
Oh, yeah.
He said that there's no such thing as aliens because they're not mentioned in the Bible. I'm like, what the fuck are you? What? Well, yeah, the Bible doesn't say anything.
Don't even
aliens.
get me started on that shit.
Yeah, I know. I'm just making the point that, hey, look, maybe there's shit out there we don't know about. That's my.
There's 100% shit out there we don't know about.
Absolutely. Well, you think that we're God's only pet project?
Right.
No
well,
that's kind of the way I see it.
It's as absurd. Well, it's not as absurd, but it's up there with the people that think the earth is fucking flat.
Yeah, that too.
Kev, what do you think?
I can't believe.
I've talked to No, I am not a flat earther. I am not a flat earther.
Okay.
We have this one guy that comes out on the quad, and I think he is one of the funniest people. And the people that are like super hardcore flat earthers, I think they're some of the most entertaining people in the world. I got to be honest. I am just always so fascinated to talk to them. Okay, yes, they're kind of dumb, but at the same time, like the way that they have everything laid out for like their conspiracy, it's kind of genius. Like I'm also like, wow, like you've spent a lot of time considering this.
Kev, that's not a conspiracy, bro. Have you ever been in a fucking airplane at 33,000 feet? You see the curvature of the earth.
I know, but it's just so fun. No, it's like the birds aren't real. To me, it's like the birds aren't real.
Oh, yeah, the birds aren't real. Yeah, birds aren't real. They're just...
The birds aren't real thing was actually created as a joke. Like flat earthers, like there's people that genuinely believe that shit. Birds aren't real was created as a joke to show how easy it can be to start a movement based on propaganda and lies. And I see flat earth as kind of similar. Like, I think it's kind of hilarious. I think the way that they try to draw all these lines like into fitting their, it's more like, here's what happens. So like what reality is a made out coloring book that you draw inside the lines. A conspiracy, like what the flat earth or the birds aren't real thing is it gives you the colors and you're trying to draw the lines around the colors. It doesn't make any fucking sense. I don't know if that analogy made any sense to you guys. Or maybe it was too confusing.
It did. I gotta say it did. It did.
It's the whole idea is like reality is like, in terms of the coloring book, like we see exactly what the picture is and we can just kind of fill it in using the other parts of what we can see around it.
Right.
But when it comes to these conspiracies, the birds aren't real. It's really fun to watch because it's like, wow, I can tell there might be a picture there with all the colors, but they're just kind of trying to draw around it and they're like making it try to work. And it's just, I think it's really funny. And it takes a certain level of delusion, but also like an idiotic genius, an oxymoronic person to really believe in that shit.
My idea of a really good conspiracy is MH370. Did either one of you guys watch that? So I keep hitting the fucking mic. Did either one of you guys watch that thing on MH370 they had on Netflix?
Okay, I want to get to that. And I'm so sorry, but I just saw
tried.
No.
I tried.
Kev,
I saw this.
launch, go.
I just saw this comment, and I want to just the God would be an alien according to human definition. I love that because something that I've been really like kind of living by a little bit recently, and I just heard somebody say it, but I really loved it. Was the reason why monsters don't exist is because we always just call them aliens. I'm sorry, not aliens. We always just call them animals. We just call them animals. Like, because if you think about it, like a lot of things that exist in our fictional, in the idea of fiction, we just already put a realistic definition on it. Anyways, that's super deep. Get into your MH370.
Well, no, my only point about MH370. What are you doing? Why are you sending out text, dumbass? You.
I didn't send a text.
You just did. I just got it. What's Lisa? What are you talking about? Really glad and happy. And okay, anyway, all right.
Wasn't me, motherfucker.
Yeah, okay, it wasn't you. I got it. It was a mix-up. Anyway, MH370 is such a great basis for a conspiracy theory because nobody knows what the fuck happened. Okay?
The Malaysian airline, if anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, the plane that
Malaysian Airlines
fucking disappeared.
Yeah, just fucking gone. And then they start finding parts of it on Reunion Island. So I'm not pushing this conspiracy theory, but I've thought a lot about it. And Deez, you and I talked when this happened. And we actually got into it, I think, a little bit about this. Yeah, I think it was.
Probably.
We had a little bit of falling out. Okay, so maybe it wasn't that. No, it was about somebody getting killed. Anyway, forget it.
Yeah.
All right, so MH370 fucking disappears. And Don Lemon comes out and says, well, maybe it was sucked up by an alien spacecraft or a black hole. What the fuck are you thinking? There's a lot of theories that happened here, and nobody's been able to give me any evidence as to which theory is the most appropriate. But years later, parts started washing up on Reunion Island off the coast of Africa. And they said, well, see, that's proof it crashed. And then I'm thinking, you know what? If a government really wanted to get rid of MH370, they just take parts out and throw them in the ocean. And then they'd wash up wherever, and everybody would go, "Oh yeah, see, it crashed because there's parts washing up," and this makes sense. It just boggles my mind. That a flight United 93 that crashed in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, that was fucking shot down by the U.S. government. 100%. No, dude, I am not a 9/11 conspiracy nut, but I'm going to tell you right now, and I've got it on good authority. Got it as a fact. There's no way that happened without that being shot down. Dick Cheney even opened his mouth and said that it was shot down. What do you guys think?
I find that very believable.
It wouldn't surprise me. There was and to bring it back to what I was talking about earlier too, like in the White House plumbers, the Watergate thing. Actually, Howard Hunt, his wife died in a plane crash, and it's like pretty well understood that it was the United States government that did it because she knew so much about the JFK assassination. She knew all about Watergate, and it's pretty much understood and she was actually like on her way to talk to a Washington Post reporter about everything she knew. And that's when, and her plane crashed.
So my thing about, absolutely. Yeah. My thing about Shanksville and United 93 was this: no matter who took down that plane, terrorists, okay, Muslim jihadist terrorists took that plane down. If the United States government said, hey, we got to shoot it down, I don't blame them. Where was that going? That was going to the White House, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So had jihadists not taken over the plane, it would have been shot down. It would have landed. They took over the plane. They were going to crash it. The U.S. government said, and this is one thing I get behind, said, hey, look, we got to take it down before it gets any further. The only thing that pisses me off about this is that nobody came out with it. They should have come out immediately and said, hey, we had to shoot this flight down. We had to do this. This is where it was going. This is what it was doing. It was taken over by jihadists. We had to do it. Either way, jihadists crashed that plane. Whether they drove it into the ground, which they did not do, okay, or somebody in an F-16 shot a missile at it. Either way, jihadists took the plane down.
This right here, what I just put on the screen, is what is the biggest problem I have with the whole thing. That's the one that I'm like, I don't fucking know.
Okay, so we're talking about the Pentagon. And what do you not know about it? We're gonna have an argument about this, and I look forward to it. And it's gonna be a good argument. But what do you
Well, I
not
don't
know
think it was
about
a
the Pentagon?
giant jet. Again, I have not, and if you can pull one up, let me know. I have not seen one fucking clear image, one actual eyewitness account, nothing that says, yep, that was a fucking plane that just flew 10 feet over our head into the lower part of the Pentagon building. Not
Okay.
once have I ever seen that.
Okay, and I can appreciate that, but I'm going to say this right now. There's a couple things to it. They had surveillance videos. You remember that from 2001, September
Mhm.
11th, 2001.
Yeah, where
And
you see a blur right off
you
the
see a blur. Okay, now wait.
burning grass, basically.
Yep. If anybody can bring me something that counters this, bring it to me. I want to see it. I'm open-minded. El Donzo is open-minded, but I'm going to tell you this right now, dude. First of all, the frames per second would not catch a jet airliner traveling at 400 miles an hour. It wouldn't pick it up. That's exactly what it would look like. Second of all, they said there's no way that the way a plane is constructed could go through the Pentagon and cause that type of damage and go through, what was it, 4 or 5 walls. Think about it this way. If I take a needle and jam it into the desk I got in front of me right now, it's going to penetrate. If I take a desk and jam it into a needle, it's going to penetrate. It's about the chicken going in. So what they do is they launch chickens, frozen chickens, at the airplane noses. If you launch a frozen chicken in an airplane's nose, it'll make a dent. Okay? Because it's the size of it, it's the speed, it's all this stuff wrapped up into one. There's nothing anybody can show me, and I've looked at it, like I said, ad nauseum, that proves to me that a jet did not hit the Pentagon. There's nothing. I'm not stupid. I come from explosives. My background is explosives. It's my it's like the same thing that said that, yeah, I don't give a shit. I'm going to be out of it soon anyway. But it's like that thing that said, well, the Twin Towers fell down because of controlled, explosive detonation. No, it didn't. I'm telling you right now.
I don't believe that at all.
There's no way that happened. And the Pentagon, nobody has ever brought me any evidence to the fact that it was anything other than a jet that hit the fucking Pentagon. Sorry. Nobody can, if you can bring it to me, send it to me. Well, I'll be more than happy to discuss it. And if I see it and I go, son of a bitch, I was wrong, I'll tell you.
I'm just not convinced it was a big passenger jet. That's all I'm going to say.
I gotta be
Something
honest,
flew into it 100%.
I don't know enough
I
about
just don't know that it was a 757 or 27 or whatever the hell it was.
I'm telling you, I've reviewed the footage. It would not surprise me one bit if that's actually what it was. Oh, say okay. So
very well be.
So Pam's asking, what happened to that plane then? Which plane?
The plane that hit the Pentagon. There was nothing left of it.
And there wouldn't be. I mean, if you flew a 747 into the fucking Pentagon at 400 miles an hour, there'd be traces. They got pieces of the plane. But
there's no way it was a 747.
Or whatever. Okay.
No,
why is that?
No fucking chance.
Why?
It says
way too big.
According
if you
to
look at
this,
the hole that thing made, a 747 would have annihilated that whole wall.
According to this, it was a
not
757.
because you're taking a needle and you're putting it through a wall. You're driving a
740.
It was a 757.
740,
just so you know.
757.
Yeah, much smaller plane.
According, at least, it's
smaller
like whatever.
plane.
It's claimed to be a 757.
I don't buy it. No, but if you can show me evidence, send it to me. I'll review it and I'll be honest about it. You know that if I see something contradictory to what I think or what I say or what I believe, I'll buy it. I'm just telling you right now, it makes perfect sense. It said, well, the hole was too small. Dude, you're talking about the wings breaking off. You're talking about a tin can getting launched at 400 miles an hour with a pointed tip on it into a brick wall.
there are no marks where the wings hit.
There's
And
not
you know
going to
what
be.
wings-
The wings are going to fly out. Yeah, look, it's going to create a bigger
What
hole
are
than
wings?
what the
What
plane
are
is.
wings full of? What are wings full of? You know, that's where they keep the fucking jet fuel.
They're going to fly off.
Okay, but where? So where are they? There
They
was
disintegrate.
nothing left of the fucking plane. There was no fireball that showed where the wings went. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm
They
saying.
disintegrated. Look. I got you. All right. If you want to send me some stuff, we'll go back and forth, and we'll do this on the next El Donzo. And
That's the fucking thing. There's nothing to send. Like you can all you can find are a very very fucking grainy blurred image of something heading that way. You get like 3 frames, and then it disappears into the building with not much of an explosion.
I've got better cameras in my studio right now, security cameras, than they
Well,
had
yeah,
at the Pentagon 20-something years ago.
Cameras in 2001 were
Shitty.
shady at best.
I don't
they
know.
caught
Zapruder had a really damn good film for the Kennedy
Right?
assassination.
Oh, the Zapruder film. Yeah, it was that was Kennedy, right?
Yeah, that was
Zapruder.
that was the one. That's the one that basically like disproves everything because he got all the angle. Like he had some of the best
Kennedy
angles.
was backed by the CIA, and you know
Oh,
what? I know
100%.
what we've
Howard
talked about
Hunt.
that.
Howard Hunt admitted to
Yeah,
it.
Howard Hunt. There you go.
Hey,
There
can
you
we
go.
like start a GoFundMe and see if we can't raise any money to help Kev buy some shit to put on that fucking wall behind him? It looks like he's coming to us from fucking
Yeah.
McLean County Jail.
Yeah. Kev doesn't get thrown in the bushes by putting Steelers and Kiss shit up behind him.
Well, you know why I did? Because that motherfucker right there on my little test video was like, you should do something with your background. And yet here he is sitting in front of a fucking movie screen.
Well, I'm not on. This is not my podcast. No, really what it is I changed my old roommate's room because I'm only in this apartment for another like 30 days. And my roommate moved out a few weeks ago. And so I turned his old room into a home office. And I just don't really have any decorations up or anything because I'm going to be leaving again soon. So that's my story, people. That's why I'm.
Well, not only that, but you got nothing to bounce the sound off of.
That's true.
Would you stop busting his balls?
Oh, he's a kid. I can do that.
No, he's not. Don't do that. There's nothing worse than being Kevin's age. But who's a fucking kid? Relax.
Another thing, this was something I wanted to talk to you guys about. I think this would be a lot of fun. So, Donzo, you have like a music recording studio, right?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
More or less. Yeah.
I think a fun live stream would be like, honestly, we could go for hours, like where we just set up and I could set up my cameras and stuff. We set up the mics correctly and we could just like do a jam session.
But no, absolutely. So we'll get a couple musicians over. We just do a jam session, live thing. Absolutely. Yep. I would love that. I think that'd be great, Kev. I think
it'd be a lot of fun. And we just fuck around and see what we come up with. I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'd stream it on my channel. I'd stream it on my channel. You guys could stream it on yours too. We could get it on a lot. So
yeah, El Donzo can do a little bit of singing, but I can play the drums too.
Awesome.
Smack the old skins.
I do piano, guitar, harmonica. I can do the drums too. Whatever you got, I can try it. So,
well, okay, we need to get that going. You need to come out here to the Skyhammer Studios.
Studios. Okay.
Skyhammer Studios. You're on Studios 92. I probably should say that on this show.
Wait until we have a week where the temperatures are a little lower though, because it's hotter than fuck in there.
It's not that bad in here right now. I'm doing okay.
No?
Ryan McKenzie plays the Yaz.
Yeah,
flute?
no. Wait. Yeah, he said he plays a skin flute. McKenzie plays a skin flute. So yeah, come on in, Ryan. We got 3 guys in here. We need you to play the skin flute, brother.
You can play the soggy waffle.
We the rusty trombone. We need to see what he says next. We cannot. Well, I know we're getting ready to wrap this, guys, but we can't stop until McKenzie pipes up and responds to what we just said.
Jokes.
Well, we knew you were retarded. We just didn't know musically, though. No, McKenzie, we love you, bro. We love you. All right, Deez, what do you got, man? Let's go for it, bro.
Man, should I bust this one out or not?
bust it out, and we're gonna wrap it up. Let's go for it, dude.
All right, I'll leave you with this, and then I'll probably have to cut this up to a little video. True stories of a strip club DJ.
Yeah.
Only reason I'm telling this story is because the statute of limitations is expired. I'm pretty sure.
What the fuck did you do?
So, needless to say, there are some weird motherfuckers that go to strip clubs and ask for some weird stuff. And so this guy comes in, and he was, if I had to guess, I would say late 50s, maybe early 60s. It just kind of, I don't know, to describe him, I would say just looked like an average like science teacher or something.
Yeah.
And this was one of those Saturday day shifts where it's not very busy. There's not very many girls there. And so he picks out his girl, and she's over there sitting with him. And as I'm sitting at the DJ booth, I can see that he's got a fucking red Solo cup sitting on his goddamn table.
Red Solo cup.
Right. Well, we didn't serve drinks in red Solo cups at all. So,
okay,
sitting there, a few songs go by, they're chit-chatting and whatnot, and the girl comes to the DJ booth, and she's just like freaking the fuck out, like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm like, well, what's up? She's like, he wants to pay me $300 to take this cup in the bathroom and pee in it. I was like, what?
Was this Donald Trump?
Did he have a drug test in the morning or something?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I'll get to that. She's like, yeah, he wants me to pee in it. And I was like, are you going to do it? And she's like, no. I'm like, it's $300. Like, that's easy money. She's like, I'm not doing it. Do you want to do it? So you're going to split the money? She's like, yeah. I said, bring me the cup. So she goes over and grabs the cup and brings it to me, and he's not watching, and she just kind of slides it to me through the old DJ booth.
Mom, turn it off. Mom, turn it off. I know this is going. Mom, turn it off.
Oh my God.
Slides me the cup, and the DJ booth is dark, like darker than what you see right now. But anyway, so I grab the cup and I just kind of spin around and scoot over into my little corner and let her fly into the cup, hand it to her. She like sneakily walks away and goes to the bathroom. A few minutes later, she comes back out, walks over, sets the cup down on the what?
Look, I know
You
we're
in the
not
back,
on
sir?
air. I know we're not on air right now, but please be gentle.
So anyway, she sets the cup down on the table, and I'm just sitting there watching. And for her sake, luckily, I had to call her on stage. It was her turn. So she goes up and starts doing her little thing. And meanwhile, my eyes are just locked on Professor Numbnuts over there. And sure as shit, he grabs that cup and just
Oh, that's disgusting. Oh my
God.
Gulp.
This is the El Donzo and Deez show. We'll catch you next week.
I retched a little, and she had to leave the stage because she saw him do it, and she started gagging, so she fucking ran off stage.
What?
And
what?
Yeah.
What? No.
The moral of this story is I made $150 just for peeing in a cup. Just goes to show you there's some weird
Red
motherfuckers
Solo
out there.
cup. Deez fills you up.
He had a party.
That's funny.
He drank his party.
Yeah, so that's my story for today.
That
You're welcome.
That on that note, I want to go take a shower now.
Seriously, me too.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good one to end it on. Kev, thanks for joining us. Go ahead, plug yourself again.
Of course, everybody's speechless with Kev Phares pretty much
Everybody's
everywhere.
fucking speechless right now.
It's really after that fucking story, it's disgusting. And I'm never gonna look at you the same, Deez. But I see why you wear this.
$150 is $150.
Phares, Plug your show.
Yes, Speechless with Kev Phares, last name Phares, spell or pronounced like Ferris Bueller, spelled a ton differently. Speechless with Kev Phares. Anywhere you watch your shit, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. I'm on all of it. So Speechless with Kev Phares. That's me.
Right
Like,
on.
subscribe,
All
and
right.
share.
Well,
Yep.
for those
I'm
of you
gonna
that
go
stuck
put
around,
on-
appreciate it.
I'm going to
Go
go
ahead.
put on a fucking disguise now, so I will not be associated with this.
This
Adios.
was 2008. It's been a while. All right, folks. Thanks for watching. Catch us on Saturdays. I think we're going to a new time slot.
I
5 to
think
7.
we need to nail down Cat.
Yeah, get in touch with Kat about that. That's not my job.
Yeah, no, Ferris got another. Ferris is hands off at this point. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
All right. We will see you all next time. He's El Donzo. I'm Deez. See you next time, baby.
Catch you on the flip.